Welcome back to the Yellow City Rundown for March 2nd through the 6th. We missed last week due to some technical difficulties in OBS, but we're back for this week, and we will have a second episode later this week for this week's stories. So getting into our top of the panhandle from last week, this week, we have one of the major stories is that local representatives from our area are reflecting on the Iran conflict. We have a recap from election night on Tuesday, and then the Barber Ranch was awarded the Prestige Animal Award for a pretty special animal. Getting to our first story this week, we had some statements from local representatives over the Iran conflict. Some of them praised President Trump for his actions, and the others were calling for a change. We have statements from Senator John Cornyn, U.S. Senator Ben Ray Lujan, Texas Congressman Ronnie Jackson, and New Mexico Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez. Let's watch a quick clip on those statements and also the overall conflict.
Following the weekend strikes on Iran, many of our local representatives releasing statements, some praising President Trump for his work and others condemning it.
Thank you for joining us. KAMR Local 4's Princess Bryant brings us these statements from our representatives, and she joins us now live in studio with our top story today at 6 from your local election headquarters. Princess.
Maria and Andy, New Mexico and Texas senators and Congress representatives have spoken since the strikes on Iran this weekend, with U.S. Senator John Cornyn and Congressman Ronnie Jackson supporting President Trump in his actions, while U.S. Senator Ben Ray Lujan and Congresswoman Teresa Fernandez calling for a change. Here's a look at a few of their statements. In a statement from U.S. Senator John Cornyn, it says, and quote, "For too long, Iran and its tentacles of terror have destabilized the Middle East and launched an all-out assault on the West and our values. With today's strikes by U.S. forces led by our Commander-in-Chief, President Trump, there is finally an opening for these dark days to come to an end. It is my hope that the Iranian people, after years of being oppression and being ignored by previous Democratic administrations, will finally be free, and I'm proud of the support being provided by President Trump in the United States." Jackson also released a statement on his Facebook. It says in part, quote, "President Trump has been taking decisive action to protect America and our allies everywhere. For decades, the Iranian regime and its proxies have created chaos throughout the Middle East and threatened the safety of American soldiers and citizens and allies." And we have more of those statements all on our website, myhighplains.com. Live in studio, Princess Bryant, KAMR Local 4 News. Andy, Mari.
All right, thank you, Princess, for the full statements from all of the representatives following the operations, along with our ongoing coverage of Iran. You can head over to our website, myhighplains.com. Following the
And that was a quick video on those statements. We do have a full story on myhighplains.com with those statements in full, and we also have other stories regarding the Iranian conflict right now. Looking at our next story, we have a bit of a Texas primaries recap. So Holly Jeffries won her bid in the primary election to run for District 86 and will be on the November ballot. However, the Commissioner's Court, they had some financial issues that have been coming out of the Commissioner's Court for Potter County, and the incumbents seem to have paid the price. Blair Schaefer, the incumbent, but in early voting numbers, it was pointing towards Jeff Rafe, and it stayed that way. He won by 17 votes. On the Democratic side, there's also another loss for the incumbent, Timothy Gasway. He received 77 votes, more than Warren Coble Sr., and will take on Jose Perez in November. Let's watch a quick video on the Potter County stuff. I will point out that we do have a full story regarding Holly Jeffries on myhighplains.com, and I did link that in our story for this week.
Potter County Commissioner's Court. Fox 14's Blas Guerrero has more details on how the results could shape how the county handles major issues moving forward.
two incumbent commissioners lost their races in Tuesday's primary election. In Precinct 2, Republican challenger Jeff Rafe defeated incumbent Blair Schaefer and will run unopposed in the November general election. In Precinct 4, Democratic challenger Timothy Gasaway defeated incumbent Warren Coble and will face Republican Jose Perez. Some candidates say the results may reflect voters wanting something different.
But I think what we're seeing here is really something that is kind of across the board. People are looking for a change. And even if the people that vote for you think you've done a fine job in your seat, people are looking for a change. And so your seat is as up for grabs as anybody's.
County issues such as the aging jail and county finances have also been part of recent conversations.
Jail was a few of the issues, and we've been working to address that, and that's probably going to be addressed within the next 9 months when I'm still commissioner.
Schaefer says he plans to continue working on county priorities through the remainder of his term. Meanwhile, the race for Potter County Judge is now moving towards the general election. Republican candidate Michelle Eggleston says voters she spoke with are focused on the county's long-term challenges.
But we certainly have to have our citizens buy in and understand what the issues are in connection with that. And I'm committed to researching that and visiting with citizens to get their input on how we should move forward with that issue.
Commissioners Court next year, those officials could soon face major decisions about the future of the county jail, long-term county spending, and how to plan for the future growth. Live in the studio, Blas Guerrero, Fox 14 News. Maya?
Blas, thank you. Candidates in several of the county races say the primary results may signal voters are looking for change in local leadership. The general election in November will determine whether that shift continues across the Potter County Commissioners Court.
That was a great story from our reporter there. Looking into our next story from last week, and technically our Meal City Rundown this week, the Barber Ranch has been awarded a Prestige Animal Award for its Hereford Bull Bel Air. He is 10 years old and about 2,600 pounds. The co-owner of the ranch, Brett Barber, shared that the award is a distinguished honor that celebrates special animals raised in the Texas Panhandle. Barber also shared with us that Bel Air is about how his progeny goes on and keeping his legacy alive. One of our reporters did a quick interview with him and Bel Air, and we'll take a look at that here.
Animal Award by Western Legacy Awards. The award celebrates the ranch's Hereford Bull Bel Air. Barber Ranch co-owner Brett Barber says it's a distinguished honor for special animals raised in the Texas Panhandle.
Meet Bel Air, one of Barber Ranch's most successful animals.
Bel Air is one of my favorite bulls, probably my favorite bulls. He's one that has been a very successful show bull, winning Supreme Champion at Denver 2 years, and also being a great breeding bull that goes on and sires low birth weight, high growth cattle that marble and just have a great eating experience.
Barber says the low birth rate goes a long way and has helped in a national program.
He's a low birth weight, always being in that 2 range birth weight EPD, and then his yearling weight EPD is over 100, so he's one that calves easy and then really explosive growth. And his carcass traits, he was used in the first National Sire Reference Program, and where his progeny went on the feed yard, and then they processed them and collected all carcass data, and his carcass numbers just keep getting better and better.
Now at 10 years old, weighing about 2,600 pounds, Barber says Bel Air is showing his longevity.
Hereford Bull averages 5 to 6 years. He's very, very efficient and probably has outlived most Hereford Bulls.
That was a great story from Maya Clark there. Looking into the rest of the show, we have the Route 66 Rewind and our Panhandle Planner coming up. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will be right back with those. and welcome back. We're going to take a look at our Panhandle Planner for this week. We have some pretty good upcoming stories for this week for March 9th through the 13th. The Amarillo City Council is meeting on Tuesday on March 10th, and they're talking about the zoo lease, and then holding a public hearing regarding the Ten Commandments statue. And the Amarillo branch of the NAACP is holding its second town hall meeting on March 12th, and a new Goodwill in town is opening on March 12th as well. Looking into our Route 66 Rewind, I have a pretty fun little story here from 1925, from March 6th. The Panhandle Area Boy Scout Council was organized and was financially supported, and Amarillo was selected that year as the headquarters for the area council, and they also elected a bunch of people for the area council. From our weather watch, this is a little late regarding our weather watch. However, I will say we are expected to return into normal temperatures. It started on Sunday and will go into Tuesday. And that should be it for this week. Again, we should have another Yellow City rundown by the end of this week, and then we will be back to our regularly normal schedule, hopefully. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, make sure you check out myheadplanes.com for the full rundown of all of our stories this week and for direct links and all that stuff. So, bye guys.